Welcome to another episode of Chris McBride Reviews. I got the lovely Elena Parks with me today. How are you doing?
Pretty good. How are you?
Beyond amazing, every day above ground is a good one, is a blessing. So we're reviewing Power Book 2, episode 4 that just dropped. It's midnight, or it dropped at midnight. It's like 5 o'clock in the morning, so we're trying to do it get the review out early before, social media start talking about everything that was going on with the episode. So what was your takeaways from episode 4?
I honestly think it was such a great, you know, coming back episode from like their little hiatus. It wasn't that long of a hiatus, but it was really, really good. I think in this episode, y'all, we've seen a lot of different things come into play. There's so much to unpack, so I'm just excited to get into it.
What's some of those things?
Oh, well, I mean, let me think. There was so much that happened in the episode, y'all, so if you haven't seen it, really watch it. But I think we should start with Lorenzo coming home. Obviously, that's kind of where the last episode left off on. I think we're starting to see him try to get back into his element in his house. He comes back, he's very, very comfortable. But then we also are now starting to see like Monet is way more on edge because her husband's home, honey, and she has been creeping with that man Dante. We're seeing a divide in the kids now. And that particular, in the beginning of the episode, Drew and Diana are over the top excited that he's home. They're very welcoming, very open arms to their father. Like, oh my God, we're so excited that you came home. Monet and Kane, on the other hand, are kind of like, for different reasons, obviously. I think Kane is starting to peep like, oh, dad is not wanting me to be by his side like he said that I was going to be. He's kind of putting Drew towards the forefront and I'm on the back burner. Like I'm kind of nobody to him right now. So that was a very interesting dynamic to see.
That was a good, interesting dynamic to see as well. Yeah, because, you could tell the dynamics before he went to jail was he was the alpha. He was like the head honcho and all that stuff. But then from season 1, you seen really Monet being like the top dog, and really she was coming out of all our kids like, your dad don't run it, I'll run it. So now it's interesting when he both comes home, it's almost like you can't serve two masters. You will either love one and hate the other, or you will be devoted to the one and despise the other. And I think that is what we're seeing play out in this dynamic where, Kane is leaning more so towards loving Monet, but despising the father and all that stuff, or hating the father. And the same thing with Diana and Drew. They're more so loving the father and despising the mother and everything. So I think it's interesting with that power dynamic as far as Monet and Lorenzo, the father coming home from life. And that's another thing with even Diana checking the mom, like, yo, you don't even seem happy that he coming home. Is there a reason why you're not happy that he coming home? So I think that's going to play a factor. Also, the Mecca dynamics between Mecca, which is Dante, her new boo or her old boo from when she was 16 and everything that came into the picture, which is Zeke's dad. And now, it went from, oh, we about to do happily ever after and I'm going to leave my husband, to now I can't leave my husband and I don't want to even talk to you no more. So we seen this episode, Dante getting a little shitty with Monet. You can tell he not vibing with her, so I think he's about to start really rebelling, and I'm interested in seeing where that dynamic goes.
He's very, very agitated, and I think you can tell that. And I think Monet's indecisiveness and playing the fence is also starting to definitely crack down on Dante. You know what I'm saying? I know he is always like, well, I'm not going to leave New York without you. I'm not going to do all of this different stuff. But also now she's starting to like make him promises or give him her word on certain things that now are not happening. So, for example, he's like, Zeke's our kid and I've never met him. So I need to meet him like ASAP. She's like in the beginning of the episode, oh yeah, I'll set it up, but we have to do it a certain way. We have to do X, Y, and Z. And she doesn't deliver on that. So I feel like, she digs herself a deeper hole with this Dante character because he is not the type of dude who's about to back down. And like, once you give him his word, it needs to happen one way or another. Either you're about to make it happen or I'm about to make it happen. And that's the vibes that I'm getting from Dante. So I'm very, very interested to see what that meeting is like when he meets Zeke. And this is kind of derailing a little bit, but towards the end of the episode, Kane gets a text from Mecca or Dante, who's the connect. And he's like, actually, set that meeting up with your father, because the whole episode, he's like, I'm not meeting with your dad. I don't have to meet with your dad. that this is our business. But at the end, he's like, set up that meeting. So I'm very, very interested to see if they tussle, if it's going to just be some tea spill. I don't know.
I'm interested in seeing that. And then I think Mecca might, now that Monet is trying to act like that, I'm cool with meeting the husband. I'm cool with meeting the father. Then he going to pull up with the father, with Monet. And it's going to be like, oh my God, I don't know what's going on. But now we can pivot to Tariq.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? The one thing I didn't like about this episode is that in no way in heck is a dude that's convicted or charged with killing a double murder, one of them being a detective, a cop. There's no way in heck you getting bail. It's not happening, bro. Like, that's just, and so I'm like, all right, bro. And even still, if it was to happen, bro, you know how long people be in jail before that happened? They make it seem like he was in jail for the weekend and all of a sudden just got granted bail. It's no way, bro. People be in jail 2, 3, bro. It's over, bro. That wasn't it. You know what I'm saying? I didn't like that part of the writing because it's so far out of the realm of possibility.
That's true. That's very, very true. And this show tends to kind of, you know what I'm saying, diminish these situations in which people would actually be in jail for a very, very long time. And especially with a kid like Tariq, I just don't even see that he would have gotten bail as fast as he did and all of that stuff. But you know what I'm saying? For sake of TV, Tariq is out of jail now, but he's on house arrest. But I think it's also crazy that they chose to spin the narrative of like, well, you guys did 2 black dudes. Here's the thing. He just got pinned with a double homicide. Like, to me, he would not have gotten off that easy for real.
With the badge being found in his room, it's over.
It's done for.
It's over.
It's done for. But now that he's home, we also get to see how he addresses Brayden, because Brayden was there when that badge got planted. And throughout the episode, people are like, well, did you tell him why he was in danger? And here's my thing. I get that part. I get that. Like, yeah, let your mans know what's going on because he could end up in a situation. At the same time, though, I feel like these secondary characters have to be using their brains a little bit more. I don't think that there was ever a time where Tariq made it seem like, oh, Kane is our friend at this point. So this is the person that we need to be trusting. Unless I'm remembering incorrectly.
No, because multiple times he kept saying, look, bro, if you see Kane, man, make sure to let me know. Let me know, bro. Let me know if you see Kane. Have you seen Kane? You ain't seen Kane? You ain't seen Kane? Even the Kane when he was with Brayden the whole time. Yo, you ain't seen Tariq? You ain't seen Tariq? The fact that both of them are saying that, bro, your spidey senses should go off and be like, okay, maybe I should, especially if my loyalty is to Tariq.
Yeah.
And the thing I didn't like about this episode is that one of the other things I didn't like about this episode is that they kept trying to make it seem like, well, if you would have told me, I wouldn't have did it. Nigga, he told you to stay away from him. Well, you didn't tell me why. Bam. That's another thing I don't like about this. But it's modern day generation where it's just like, you need explanation for everything. And then they would have been like, oh, well, you didn't tell me this detail either. It's like, bam. He told you what you needed to know, which is stay away from this person. Well, you didn't tell me why I should stay away from him.
Exactly. And here's my thing about him only keeping Brayden on the need-to-know basis. I felt like that was the best move because it's like, you're a Weston. You got too many connections to all of this different stuff. You know the type of time that we be on. So it's like, you knowing all of this, we don't know how bad you're about to freak out. And granted, Brayden has proved multiple times that he's like not with the freak out. He's definitely going to be down to do whatever. But still, it's like, I don't want you to end up in certain situations that I always end up in, because Tariq always ends up in a crazier situation than when Brayden would ever end up in. So it's like, if Brayden ends up in those situations, the first person he's going to want to call is his dad, because I can get off because I'm a Weston. That just puts a lot of heat on a situation that doesn't need to be there. So it's like, keeping him on that need-to-know basis sometimes is the best thing for Brayden, and I don't think he realizes that. I also think it's interesting that he has this little team now with Effie. Effie kind of came out of nowhere. That was very left field.
Talking about, oh, I just wanted to just check up on you and everything. In real life, it's like when AZ got popped, the Harlem story with, you know what I'm saying, Rich Porter, AZ, and Alpo and all that. When he got popped and he had went to the hospital and all that stuff like that, anybody that wanted to visit him, you had to get fingerprinted. You had to get your picture taken. They did a thorough investigation on anybody that was tied to you. In a high-profile case like this, the reality is anybody that come near you is getting investigated.
That's true.
Anybody that want to come see you, come visit you, they getting linked at your associates now. So, but this ties back into my theory on how they want to put the worst things that you could possibly do on TV. Because remember, the brain can't tell the difference between an actual experience and something you vividly imagine it. So you're taking in all this stuff, and your brain is taking it as real. So anytime you get into a similar situation that resembles anything that you've seen on TV, you unconsciously act that out. So they're really putting all these suggestions in these TV shows to get people to really be in bad situations if they ever do any of this stuff. Oh, I'm just gonna pull up on my friend. He just got charged with a double murder. Even though I'm his accomplice in illegal shit, I'm just gonna pull up on him. Nigga, that will get you a Fed charge, bro, because they're gonna be looking at you. Like, they're putting a whole bunch of suggestions that if you were really ever to do any of this stuff in real life, you're done for. Done for.
Very true. Very, very true. And I just think it is, I don't know. They like treat like Effie like a pickup character. Like, oh, you know who would be great for this role right here?
Let's just drop Effie in there.
Let's just drop Effie into the situation. Even though Effie has not been around.
Like she's some sea salt or something. Yeah, just put some salt on it. Make it good. We'll just put some Effie on there.
Sprinkle a little parsley in there, a little Effie in there, because that's who we need right now. Now, I do think that she's, you know what I'm saying, stepping up to the plate to help the boy and all of that stuff. But I also don't think Tariq is heeding to anybody's advice at all, because the first thing out of Davis McClain's mouth, who's like a known crook, is like, don't trust nobody when you get out there, because you don't know what anybody is about to do to you. First of all, I would just say it like this. And I'm going to go back a little bit to like, well, that was power, I think. Whenever he trusted Effie the first time and she screwed him over, that would have been the end for me. Because, baby, we already do too much illegal stuff. And now you trying to come back around, all of this stuff. She would be at arm's length with me. I'm going to tell you that right now.
Well, the one thing I can say is that in the 48 Laws of Power, the second law is to don't put too much trust in friends. Learn to use your enemies. And the reason behind it is that an enemy, once he's found out, if he tried to play you and then you ended up catching him and all that stuff like that, he will work harder to be in your favor. So he will actually be more loyal to you than your actual friends will be. So in the 48 Laws of Power, they actually teach you. And I that's one thing I do like about this Power series, is that they incorporate a lot of those power things. I think Law 4 or something like that is never say more than necessary. Another law is always conceal your intentions. Like, and you just see Tariq and Power and Ghost and all that just kind of play out all of these principles. Kanan, all these other play out these principles of power. And that's another thing. It was a perfect name of the show because all the dynamics are just fighting for power. Kane fighting for power. Monet fighting for power. Tariq fighting for power. Braden wants power. The husband wants power. Mecca wants power. So it's all these just different power dynamics. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Another thing, back on the husband real quick, it made me think of Zeke. When Zeke tried to come into the party and all that, and he patted down Zeke, and that already would have been just too weird.
It would have been weird. Because that's your auntie's husband. In my mind, I'm thinking he knows Lorenzo, or Lorenzo knows him at least enough to be like, oh yeah, Zeke's
Well, no, he said he never met him.
Which is weird. And that's weird that they didn't bring that up until they came face to face. You get what I'm saying?
Because I'm like, how would you never met him and you only been to jail 10 years?
Zeke's like 20 something.
So,
or like 19 at least. So it's like you would have known him in some capacity or known of him in some capacity.
Well, I don't know, because we haven't got the story of when Zeke started coming around.
That's true. And we haven't gotten a full backstory on. So we all know that Zeke is Monet's kid, but we haven't gotten a full backstory on like Lorenzo and what that looked like that dynamic when they got married. And I'm pretty sure he knew that was her child. Like, in my mind, they haven't said this in the show yet, but I feel like he knew that man was her child and let him start coming around and stuff when he got, or maybe that's why he was coming around, because Lorenzo wasn't at home anymore. So that could be something too. But that was so crazy. Like, he pulled up and Lorenzo was like, I'm not even sure why you're at my house. Actually leave. That was crazy. And if I was Zeke, he don't know how to read the room. No, that poor character does not know how to read the room. Because if it was me and he's like, you need to leave, I'm leaving. I'm not about to get patted down to come to the house. I'm going to just go ahead and go.
No, facts. Then you got Professor Carrie.
That's where I wanted to go next. I'm so glad you brought that up, because Carrie Milgram, honey, enemy number one. And it's almost like, I don't know why they've written her with this like extra vendetta against Tariq, because to me it's like, you were all gung-ho at first and all of this stuff. Then he killed the little dude that you was sleeping with, and now you got an attitude. And I get it. He's dead, so you got an attitude. But it's not like you were doing him well while he was alive. You were definitely still sleeping with Zeke. So let's keep that top of mind. And then with Lauren. And I liked Lauren as a character, but girl, after they put that wire on you, you have to know that you're using your brain in some capacity. Like that white woman told her at the end of the episode. Why don't you read stuff before you sign it? because it's not like they played her into wearing that wire. They sat you down and told you what you were about to be doing. Granted, they may not have told you who was a prime suspect and all of this stuff, which they don't have to, but it's like, think about what you're doing. You're still wearing a wire around all these people, and obviously you felt some type of way wearing it around Tariq because you would go and hide it in the bathroom. So you already knew something was up and weird. Nobody can convince me otherwise. She knew something was up.
Nah, facts. And then the simple fact that she didn't still tell Tariq that. Like when they were standing outside of the car,
Prime opportunity.
I thought that she would have been like, look, man, this is what's going on. And that would have low key, she still would have been an idiot, but that would have been a saving grace, at least for me. I would have been like, okay, well, we can trust her a little bit more. But the fact that she's still playing it. Now, granted, I feel like she's probably going to redeem herself this next episode because how they showed her this episode, she was getting fed up. She going to the professor. Look, I don't want to do this stuff no more. She went to the DA. Look, bro, I don't want to do this no more. So I feel like now we can go into predictions.
Yes.
I feel like what's going on in this next episode, I feel like Lauren is going to have I don't know what she's going to do, but I feel like it's going to be in Tariq's favor. The next thing that Lauren does, this next episode, I feel like we're going to see a light shift in her and she's going to be back in Tariq's favor. What are your predictions when it comes to Lauren and then also the professor with this next episode, at least?
With this next episode, I definitely see some stuff coming back on the professor because with Lauren in this current episode that we were just reviewing, Lauren is like, well, I know you're having sex with Zeke. And she's like, and I don't care about it coming out. So I don't know what her plan is to get that out to everybody else. But Carrie's not finna be on top like she thinks she is for too much longer. And I think that's going to have something to do with Lauren. And like you said, I think Lauren is getting to a place where it's like, oh my God, Tariq's really done with me. But also like, I'm done doing all of this stuff to try to pin him for these murders. So like, I'm about to do something to make sure that nobody thinks he does these murders or something. So I could agree with that prediction for sure.
What's your predictions with the Tejada family?
Ooh, okay. Now this is good. With the Tejada family, first of all, I think we are definitely about to see the downfall of the family. I think it's starting already with Lorenzo coming home. But one part in particular that makes me think that this is going to be kind of a sped up process is this meeting between Dante and Lorenzo. And also, when Kane read his daddy down for filth, he's like, you're back home. You don't have anything. You're living off my mother. Because it goes just back to those dynamics of like, Monet and Kane are together, and then Lorenzo and Diana and Drew are all together. So it's like we're starting to see them make all these different decisions without consulting each other, so they're not on the same page regardless.
I thought it was funny that Kane said that, like, you're living off my mom, but really they all was living off of him.
Off of his money.
Off of his money and off of his street cred, his power, all this other stuff, his reputation, his names. So I felt like, you know what I'm saying, that was a funny thing for him
to bring that up,
to even say, you know what I'm saying, because that's what in season 1, that was Monet's big thing with the cop, why she wouldn't leave her husband, because she like, nigga, my husband is the reason why we got all of this. My husband is the reason why I got respect and I'm straight on the street and I can move around and do all this other stuff. Mm-hmm. So it's funny that Kane didn't mention that particular part. My predictions, same as the ones before. I feel like it's about to split where, and we already seeing it with Monet and Kane, and then you got Drew and the father and all that stuff like that. I feel like Diana is kind of like a mix because now she feels some type of way because she want to go to a different school. It's like, damn, man, didn't you just want to go to school? Now all of a sudden you just want to go to Stanfield.
But I could feel her on the Monet thing because Monet always does little stuff with Diana that's like, you get what I'm saying? Things are supposed to be done now, but that's another thing too, is a prediction. And I feel like that's about to come out really soon with the Stansfield stuff. They're trying to shut down Course Correct. Lorenzo's like, we don't want no part in that. Shut that down and we'll do things a different way. The problem is Diana's always wanted to go there or whatever the case may be, whether that be for Tariq or whoever. But I feel like Monet always plays her hand because she wants to remind her daughter, I have power over you. And I think it goes back to what you were saying about these characters wanting different power because Monet is pretty much fed up with Diana with the whole getting her daddy home thing.
Yeah, but she got to walk on her shells because she's the only one that suspects that her mom got something going on. So she got to watch with that one. But I feel like the power dynamics is definitely about to split between Monet and Lorenzo and all that stuff like that. I'm interested because I feel like Mecca is about to start being petty and making himself known. Like how he was knocking over the trash cans in the beginning. Yeah. He about to start doing things like that. I definitely feel like he about to walk up on Zeke. I thought we was going to get that towards the end of this episode, but they only showed him watching it. But I feel like he's going to eventually definitely walk up on bro like, hey, fam. Another thing I'm wondering if usually on season 2s, they go from 8 episodes to 10 episodes. So this next episode is 7. So If they keep it like season 1, it'll only be 8 episodes. So that means we're coming very close to the end. But if they do like they've done all the other series, it should be pushed to 10 episodes. So it may be a little bit more unfolding this season. We just got to see how many episodes is left. But whether we got 2 or whether we got 4, that's going to make a huge difference.
Huge difference.
Now, when it comes to Brayden and Tariq, they're getting back on the same page and all that stuff like that. Now you can see that Tariq or Brayden is about to start working with Kane and all that on behalf of Tariq. So kind of keeping close eyes on Kane and Monet and all that stuff like
Keeping
that.
your enemies closer, like you said.
Facts. And then they're playing dumb with Brayden because Brayden's going to be with Kane like, oh, yeah, I don't know that you planned and I don't know that you set him up and I don't know you did all this other stuff like that. So I think that that is going to be interesting as Brayden gets more pulled into the street life and all that stuff like that. I'm interested in seeing what will actually happen with that.
I am too. I actually think Brayden is a really good point to get on too, because I think, you know, we see him do a lot of reckless stuff and things like that, but I think we're also starting to see his character develop a little bit more just as he's getting put into all these different situations now. So it's really starting to test, like, you know, is Brayden really down to do this? Or, you know, is he going to be smart enough to do this? Is he going to make the right choices? And I think they're making a great parallel of, like, Tommy and Ghost. Like, if they were privileged when both of them was growing up, they're making a good parallel. It's like, I don't know. He's the muscle a lot of the time. He's always ready to just kind of dive in and do whatever needs to be done. And Tariq's kind of taking the backseat to think about the things that need to be done. They make a good team together. So I really hope they stay on the same page and that they continue to, you know what I'm saying, stay loyal to each other, and that this plan with Kanan works out, because if it does not, I don't know what's going to happen to poor little Brayden, but we'll see.
Nah, facts. And then it brings up another point where it's like Tariq's big issue is that, you know what I'm saying, his communication. Yes, I believe you got to keep things low and on a need to know, but then also like that book we were reading when it comes to kids, that if like you really want people not to do anything, then you got to make sure they understand why they're not doing what they're doing. You can't just be like, don't do that. You got to kind of give a little explanation. So I do feel that he is starting to grow as like a leader and grow as like a boss and all that stuff like that. So he's learning. But then they also mentioned 2-Bit in this episode. So I don't know if that's about to pop back up this season.
Yes.
Because I don't know if that came out of nowhere.
Because 2-Bit kind of just disappeared in season 1. We don't know what happened. I thought he was still going to get money from him because of his dad, all of this stuff.
And Tariq admitted to the murders to Brayden and Effie. So I don't know what's about to happen with that. Because like you said, that happened right after McQueen told him, don't trust nobody.
Don't trust nobody with no information.
But I think he was good not saying it to Lauren.
Oh, yes. He did a very good job of cutting Lauren off. I think in this episode, he needed to cut her off. Because, I mean, at this point, she's a huge liability. I mean, the girl got so much information. She done wore a little wire around her. We don't need Lauren just yet. We need Lauren to prove herself again, because Lauren didn't fell off the rocker this episode. In my opinion, she done fell off the rocker a little bit. But I don't know. I think he was okay sharing that information with Brayden. Effie is the one who's still kind of rubbing me, because I just don't know. You never know.
Yeah.
You never know. And she mentioned something about Kane. I think I missed it a little bit. But I'm interested to see, because I feel like Kane weasels his way in and out of stuff too. So it's like all it takes is one false move with Effie and Kane, and Tariq could have a lot of trouble. So
that's facts. And then the Councilman Tate thing, where I'm interested in seeing what was in that book, that photo album and all that stuff like that, and how Kane uses that to his, or how Officer or Councilman Tate uses that to his advantage, because I feel that is what's probably going to propel Tate into his own story.
That's true.
Is getting him into that position, or whatever. Once he gets in that position, that's probably what's going to spin off until Tate's story. Because I think, what is he, Power Book 5?
5?
Yeah, I think he's Power Book 5. So he's going to be the last one that comes out. Yep.
Tommy's coming up soon. And so, yes, even Councilman Tate, I think he always takes an interesting stance in any episode. I always feel like I know what he's going to do, and he always does the exact opposite. So I think it's always interesting, too, that he's very, like, he goes off on Tariq and is like, oh, you always are saying that you're going to give me this information and you don't, and I'll make your life a living hell. He always gives him the opportunity to do so, though. You get what I'm saying? Like, he never stops him from, like, getting the information. Also, Tariq's a really big talker, though. He seems like he knows how to talk his way in and out of situations, just like his father. I forgot, somebody on the episode was like, maybe your dad didn't know you at all. It was Effie, actually. And I think that was a very false statement. I think James knew him way too well, because he knows his son and he knows how his sons get down. I would also like to mention, I think Brayden did a great job calling his friend out when he's like, your dad is rich. Tariq's like, your dad's rich and you just chose to do this. And Braden's like, I don't think you remember your dad much, but he was rich too. And you also chose to do this because I know you. So don't play games. I thought that was good. We needed Tariq to be humble a little bit.
Nah, that's facts, and I'm interested in whether because they trying to get Tasha to keep mentioning her. Hopefully, she don't pop back up. But
I
if she
think she's
does,
going to come back next episode.
I hope
Or
Tommy.
talk to her.
I hope Tommy pops back up, puts a bullet in her, and then that's how Tommy's thing starts. Because it seems like Tommy is about to start at the end of this particular season.
Yes.
So I would love if he, because that's how I thought the first one was going to end. He was going to pop up, and that was going to lead into his series. So they pushed his back, let the BMF thing run and all that stuff like that. So now I think there's going to be a connection between the end of this season with Tariq and the start of Tommy's thing and all that stuff like that.
And Tommy, and honestly, that would have been a good way to start it. But Tommy did say something at the end of season 1 that was very important, that no matter what he does in life, he's never going to stop hunting her down. And with them bringing her back up as frequently as they have in this episode, if she comes back with even a conversation or they show her, Tommy's on her head, and I know
she just needs to die. We need to just get rid of her. We just need to go ahead and do it. I mean, just even think about Tariq's life right now. That's her. You know what I'm saying? She's the one taught him how to sell drugs. She's the one that, you know what I'm saying, made him hate his father and all this other stuff like that. All this other crazy. Just let her go, so then we could just let, you know what I'm saying, Tariq just figure out whatever the heck he gonna do and live with his consequences and his choices and all that stuff. Beyond that, we had 20-something minutes. Did you have any other final takeaways or any other things you want to add?
Not at all. Just excited to see how the season continues to unfold and what's going to happen.
Alrighty, well, y'all leave us a comment. Let us know what y'all agree with, what y'all disagree with. What was your takeaways? What's your predictions? How you think the next episode is going to unfold and all that stuff like that. Leave us a comment. And until the next time, we are out.